Earlier when I was discussing 1.2, I forgot to mention domain, range, x and y intercepts. Now, we'll do x and y intercepts first because that's the easiest. X-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So like this one, your x-intercept would be -3, 0. Your y-intercept, 0, 1. Notice how your x-intercept, the y is always 0. The y-intercept, the x is always 0. You can have more than one. Like in this case, you have 2 x-intercepts. You have 1, 0, and you have -1, 0. And your y-intercept, 0, -1. Notice how this one you have no x-intercepts, but you have a y-intercept at -3. This one we've got x-intercept at -2, 0, y-intercept 0, 2. So now domain and range. Domain is anything that x can be. Range is anything that y can be. So notice how on this one, there's no restrictions. X can be anything you want it to be. So we can say all reals, or if you want to use interval notation, -infinity to infinity. Range, the y can be, notice how there's no gaps, no holes, no asymptotes, anything like that. So range is also all reals, or -infinity to infinity. Notice how on this one, it's going on forever. The x-axis is being covered. So the domain is still all reals are saying -infinity to infinity. Now the range though, notice how on the y-axis there's a part that's not covered. At -1 on the y-axis is where it starts, and then the graph is included in everything above that. So the range is y is greater than or equal to -1, or interval notation, -1 to infinity. Let's say like this one, it's going down. X domain is still all reals. Range, notice how right here at -2 is the highest it goes, and then it covers everything below but nothing above. So y is less than or equal to -2. Or you could say -infinity to -2 using interval notation. Let's say a good old square root equation. Notice how in this case your domain, it's not everywhere. You don't have arrows on both sides. It's only on the right. And it starts at -2. So the domain, -2 to infinity. Or, of course, y is greater than or equal to -2. X. Range, notice how range is always y-axis, so the lowest it goes is 0 and above. So 0 to infinity, or y is greater than or equal to 0. Whichever your teacher prefers. Once you get in pre-cal, I prefer interval notation because that's what you'll see most often. So domain is always what x can be. Range is always what y. So notice how if you were to ever get a polynomial like this, which I know we'll get to probably next section, but the x arrows both directions, so domain and range, all reals for both. So notice how an odd function or odd polynomial, it's always going to be all real for both. An even polynomial, as long as there's no restrictions, it's always going to be all reals. And if it's going up, greater than the y-coordinate of your minimum point, or if you're going down, like so, it would be your maximum. So this would be all reals, and the range y is less than or equal to 3. Or negative infinity to 3. So anyway, that's more for polynomials we'll get to later. But the main thing to remember is domain. Domain is always your x's. Range is your y's. X-intercepts where it crosses the x-axis. Y-intercept where it crosses the y. Hope this was of help to you. Have a great day.